All right, we're here with Mariah Northrop, and Mariah, you just came back from Oklahoma, beautiful Oklahoma, for the WPSL Combine. You were there with two other players from the Fire, and this was the first time the league has put on this combine. So there was international coaches, and there was players from across the country. So I guess first of all, what was it like? What was it like to go down and play in that type of an environment?
Um, it was honestly just a crazy experience. We had no idea what to expect, first of all, but we just kind of, thought, why not put ourselves out there, get some exposure, and get to play with high level soccer players from all across the country. And I mean, I don't think it was what any of us expected, but I am so glad that I went.
Mm-hmm. And I talked a little bit to Sean Jones, who is the head of the WPSL, before the combine when they announced it. And one thing he mentioned was, they wanted to make sure current college players could go, even if they weren't looking to go pro, this summer. And so I think he was excited, and the league was excited to get players like you, who are kind of partway through their college career, who could kind of go and get that experience. So you're in you're already in this kind of interesting summer league where you have to come and play with girls that maybe you haven't played with before, and then you go down to this combine. I mean, what were the things they had you do right away, and what were some of the things they put you through?
Yeah, so I think it was cool that they were able to kind of talk about playing professionally in Europe, but without a way that none of us would lose our NCAA eligibility. Mm-hmm. So right away we got in and we checked in. We got the weekend, and immediately they just started. As soon as we got to the field, they started calling out numbers, and they split us up, and we just scrimmaged for 3 hours in 109-degree heat. It was brutal. I mean, I think it's the hottest I've ever played in, being from Minnesota, but I think that the weather actually made us all come together more and play more as a team, because a lot of times you see all there's coming from all over is people are trying to show off individually, obviously, but what was really cool is that right away, I mean, everybody was dying. No one was truly adjusted to this heat. It wasn't normal. Mm-hmm. And so it was really cool to see that everybody was playing so selflessly, because nobody wanted to take the ball and, take it down the whole field or anything like that. So mm-hmm. I think right off the bat, that just formed a lot of bonds with the girls. And I think we played a higher level of soccer because of it.
Mm-hmm. And the three of you who went down kind of have a mix of experiences. Annie plays out in the Dakotas. Julie's up at St. Cloud State. You had spent some time at Drake, and now you're going to Winona State. So you've seen kind of two different types of programs there. How would you describe the level of play down at the Combine? And obviously it's tough to judge when everyone is brand new and everyone's kind of not adjusted to playing with each other. But how would you describe the level of play compared to like the rest of the WPSL season?
That's a great question. So I think overall at the Combine, I think there was a higher level of talent. Mm-hmm. I think what you see a lot of times in WPSL, and what I learned from going to the Combine and speaking to girls from all over, is that there are some teams that don't take the WPSL very seriously, where, people aren't showing up for practices. Some teams only had 9 girls showing up on game day. But then you have other teams that take it much more seriously. It's, you're taking time off of work to make sure you're making every single practice and every single game, and, it's your number one priority. Mm-hmm. And I think, so a lot, especially to make the commitment to come, the distance to Oklahoma, the majority of the people that we had there were very dedicated, serious soccer players that are looking, to better their game. And so I think the level of play was very high because of the amount of talent that we had there. Mm-hmm. But I also think that what, we personally had on the Fire this year, we had a very special team, and we just connected so well, so naturally. So you kind of miss that aspect of the connections that you can create on a team over time. But it was definitely great soccer that we were playing down there.
Mm-hmm. And you talked a little bit about, the Fire came in. It was your first year in the league, and you really had, I think, what was kind of objectively viewed as a really high level of talent across the team, with a lot of D1 players, but just across the board there were a lot of girls playing high level soccer. You guys did really well, finishing toward the top of the conference. How was that summer experience and this combine experience preparing you for coming into Winona State, like coming into a new setup where you're going to be trying to earn a role as a new player in the program?
Absolutely. I couldn't have asked for a better summer experience, and I am so confident going into preseason with Winona State right now because the special thing that Aaron and Mickey did was you could go two ways with a WPSL team. You could focus on, okay, it's all about winning the league. It's all about, then advancing and winning nationals. Or you can focus on, hey, we have girls from, anywhere from just graduated high school, going back to colleges or looking to play at the next level after this. And, for them, yes, it should be a team first mentality, but ultimately their goals are more individualistic. So as far as preparing, to go back to college or getting scouted to play at the next level. And so Aaron and sorry about that.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron and Mickey, they really said that their goal at the end of this was at the end of the season for us to be able to say that we are better players because of this team. And I think at times we didn't focus as much and get it too wrapped up in the tactical plays as a team and making sure we had set plays for everything, as far as we were always focused on bettering your first touch, playing quickly, and just becoming better soccer players. And I think the rest just kind of filled in itself. So I personally think that I have grown so much as a player from this summer. I've learned so much about my own game and just learned so much from the talented teammates that I've gotten to play with and the experienced coaching staff that I got to work with.
And so for folks who haven't followed the NSIC and D2 college ball in Minnesota, I think, in broad strokes, people probably should know that we have some of the best D2 programs in the country. There's some really top level play. The NSIC is huge, 16 teams, so it's really competitive week in, week out. You're also kind of just getting comfortable. You were there for the spring in Winona. What do you think your role is going to be, or what are you kind of competing for in terms of your role on the team?
I think my role on the team, so the nice part, I transferred at an odd time going into the spring, but I think it definitely gave me more of the ability to adjust during the spring. So now stepping into preseason, I'm more adapted. I've gotten close with the girls, comfortable with the new coaching staff, and so I can take on more of a leadership role on the team. Whether that means coming in right away in preseason, just kind of settling some nerves of some newer players, and just ultimately whatever the coaches see my role to be, whether I'm playing defensive mid or attacking mid, or I'm coming off the bench, or whatever the team needs. I just think I'm ready and willing to play with.
And what made you choose Winona State in particular? Because you obviously, when you're in a transfer situation, it's kind of a little bit like recruiting happens over again, or kind of, you get to choose where you go all over again. What made you choose Winona State, and kind of what about the program was appealing to you?
Definitely. So Winona State in general, I'm a finance and accounting double major, and they have a great business school, which was a very appealing aspect, first of all. It's also close to home, which is very important to me. But as far as soccer, it was a really interesting but also great opportunity for me here because they had just had a change in coaching staff. And so they were hiring this new staff with Matt and Val, who ended up being, they're our two coaches now. And we were just entering this new period where, okay, these two new coaches are, they're coming in and everybody has to prove themselves. Everybody's at, starting at the same spot. I'm not coming in as a transfer student to, a coach that already has their mindset. They already have their favorites. And sometimes it's harder to break through that as a new. So this just was a great opportunity because I wasn't on my own. We were all in the same spot. And I knew that especially coming into the new staff, everybody was trying to prove themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They would be playing their best soccer, and that's what I want from my teammates.
Right. Yeah, that is true. It's rare as a transfer student to feel like you're on level footing with everyone else. That like everyone is proving themselves to a new staff. That's really cool. Well, I think it's great that you guys made the trip down there. We'll talk to the other women who made the trip down with you, and hopefully folks will be able to follow Winona State a little bit. Maybe when you're playing away games, you'll find some folks who have followed you. Some Fire fans will follow you if you play up in St. Paul or something. Mariah, thanks so much for talking to us.
Yeah, thank you, Matt.